First up on the form this morning, we get to Craig Grylls, who'll be at Te Rapa on Saturday. Craig, great to have you with us and looking forward to what's going to be a nice day of racing on Saturday. And we've still got those almost summer track conditions, haven't we, which is a real plus. Yeah,
morning, Emily. It's unusually dry for this time of the year, so they're pretty good tracks that we've still been going around on at the moment. So, there's a few nice races on the card on Saturday.
Let's go through your rides, and we'll start in racebook order with race number 2. Mega Bourbon is your mount in this one. Your first chance to ride this horse was an okay fourth after a freshen at Counties. Have you had a chance to have a look at that?
I have, yeah. He's racing really consistently at the moment. You go back through his previous 3 or 4 runs, and they've all been really good runs. So, for an open handicap race early in the day, it's not the strongest open handicap, and I think he brings pretty good form line into it.
And obviously with the 55.5 kilos, your weight doesn't change from that last start, and you have a good draw as well, so there's quite a few bits in your favour.
It does, yeah. He is well weighted and comes in with a nice draw, so hopefully he can be not too far off them, and he has got a good turn of foot like he let down at Counties here.
And then if we move along to race number 4, Craig, you've got Masetto in this next one. Again, a really nice draw with this horse, another for Stephen Marsh, and a decent drop back in distance after that freshen up.
Yeah, like I say, 2 starts ago at Te Rapa, it was a really good fourth. He wasn't far away, and as you say, he's had that bit of a freshen up. He drops back in distance, which is going to suit him. He's not without a chance. On his day, he is a very good galloper on his day.
You do have to carry the weight, don't you, I guess, in comparison to, say, for example, Mega Bourbon. You've got that weight, but does he give you the impression that he's a horse that'll be able to carry that?
I think so. Like, he has carried a bit of weight in the past and in previous runs, so, he looks like a big, strong horse, so I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for him, but, if he can bring back that form like 2 starts ago, he's going to be competitive, that's for sure, I feel.
And then race number 5, Mazzolino, a first starter, and rode in 2 of its 3 trials. What are your thoughts on those, Craig?
Yeah, I really like her. She's lovely filly. Obviously it's a bit of a big ask having a first start in a listed race, but her trial at Ellerslie was very good, and also this trial here at Taupo gives you a really nice feel. I think whatever she does on Saturday, she's going to improve, and I think as a 3-year-old, you're going to probably see a better horse even again. She's going to develop into a nice 3-year-old, I think.
And then another horse who gets a nice soft draw, and that'll just help on debut, won't it? It'll give us sort of that guidance. It's just going to make it that little bit easier for you.
Yeah, well, positive things of having a good draw is at least you can, as long as you jump away cleanly, you can get into a nice spot without having to do too much work. So, especially being a first go up against some experienced horses, that does count for a lot.
And then if we get along to race number 6, Windspeed is your next ride of the afternoon. What did you make of that resuming run?
The resuming run, I ended up sort of 3 back the fence, and there was sort of swoopers that took off really early, and I was stuck on the fence, and it was like I just never got a run at all. I basically sat on the horse the whole way up the straight. So I said to Steve, this was more like a trial more than anything. So as long as we can get a clear run, I felt like I was going to run and right into it. I was just hard held the whole way up that long Pukekohe straight, so never got a crack at them at all.
And having been looked after in that first condition, you'd be thinking, Craig, there was a nice bit of improvement to come from Windspeed.
Yeah, I think so. The run definitely wouldn't have hurt the horse, that's for sure. As you can see here, I'm just hemmed away inside with all dressed up, nowhere to go. So it's going to take a little bit of improvement out of it. Like I say, it was more like a trial, if anything. So, but the horse did sort of feel like it had quite a bit of running in it. So hopefully a bit more luck.
Yeah, and I just noticed in the form guide the ear covers pre-race, they go on. Does that make any difference to you, or is it more of a thing from a handler's perspective they're getting to the start?
Yeah, I guess some horses that can get a little bit toey before the race, it does help calm them down. They take them off around at the start, and when they take them off, then it sort of does wake them up a bit sometimes as well. So it gets them on the job too. But for some horses, they definitely are. They are a good asset. Yeah.
And then race number 7, Electrica, is your next mount. And this is a horse that's been really consistent of late, Craig. And that seemed like a really well-deserved rating 65 win at its latest.
Yeah, she's got a really good form line of late. She's been racing really well. Her track work's been very good too coming into this run. So I'd say she sort of weighted pretty well in this race. I know she does step up in grade, which always is a little bit harder going up a grade. But she hasn't done anything wrong. So it was a nice tough win. She had to do a little bit of work early to sort of cross them, but she kicked hard too. So and it was a reasonably strong race for a 65 race at Matamata this day too. There's a couple of nice horses in it. So I mean, the track might be a little bit too good for her liking. She does like quite a bit of sting out of the ground, but she's racing well.
And then in race number 8, we get to Dark Saturn, the last of your mounts. So racing okay without winning this preparation. Can it be the day on Saturday to get that win?
Yeah, like you say, form's pretty consistent, so it's not too far off them most of the time. So, again, drawn a nice barrier. Hopefully, it can just lob into a good spot without having to do too much work, and hopefully the horse can do the rest from there.
And Craig, as we have a little look at your book of rides, I wondered if you could single one out for us as your best on the day there at Te Rapa on Saturday.
Probably, I'm really looking forward to riding Mega Bourbon. On paper, he probably looks my best ride. But I'm really interested to see how Mazzolina, the 2-year-old, is going to go. I think it probably, at the prices she's paying, she's going to be good. There's going to be a good bit of value there.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Craig. Great to have you on the show this morning, and we wish you the best of luck there on Saturday. And of course, when you head over to Queensland as well, best of luck there too.
Cool. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, we spoke to Craig Grylls earlier about his rides at Te Rapa, but another man who'll be on track on Saturday who has a great book of rides is Michael McNabb, and he joins us on the line now. Michael, great to have you with us, and another promising day on Saturday in your bid to become the champion jockey for this season.
Yeah, morning Emily. I got a nice book of rides, and hopefully I can add to the tally.
Exactly right. Let's go through them, and we'll start with the Tevere. Obviously, we know the abilities there, managed to string together a few wins, and coming back from stakes great at its past 2, so that's a promising sign, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a lovely mare. I've had a good association with her, and I'm looking forward to getting back on her Saturday.
And you're coming back from the 1400 metres as well. Do you think that'll suit her and your experiences with her?
I think so. I thought she always would get to 1400 to a mile, but she seems to be really good at the 1200. So yeah, back to the 1200 should be good for her.
And then if we get to race number 3, Abeyance is your mount in this one. Just 2 starts, not beaten far at that latest outing. Do you feel there's improvement up to the 1400?
I think so, yeah. She drew really wide her first start this prep and had to do a lot of work to get outside the lead, and it probably just told late. She's drawn the one gate and should get a soft trip, and I think the 1400 just help her travel a little bit sweeter as well.
And she gets the noseband on. Was that your suggestion, or do you feel that can make a difference?
That wasn't my suggestion, no, but the noseband always seems to help horses, always like the addition of gear.
And Michael, if we get to race number 4, Osaka is the horse that you'll be on in this one. 3rd up now, and should be peaking, you'd be thinking.
Yeah, I think so. Love getting on Stephen's horses 3rd up. They're normally really ready to go, and he was a good 6th last start in the Easter, so looking forward to getting back on him.
And that's back in company as well, isn't it? Because obviously the Easter being a stakes race, so you're going to be well placed on Saturday too.
Yeah, for sure. And he loves Te Rapa too, so that's always a bonus.
And then if we get to race number 5, you've got Academy Award. Just the 2 runs, they've both been placings. What are your thoughts on Academy Award?
really promising filly. I thought when I trialled her, she improved really well from her trial to her first start, and probably should have won that day. Just got a little bit held up, and then she had to do a little bit of work early and just probably told late. So, no, really looking forward to getting back on her, which is in quite a strong, even 2-year-old race.
And with that sort of knowledge of those first two starts, is there a way that you want to ride her this week to sort of get the best out of her?
She's drawn a little bit awkward in the small field, so I'll just see what Stephen says, but maybe ride her to finish off, be strong late, but I'll see what he wants to say. It's been racing quite leader by Te Rapa since the renovation, so you might have to be right there again.
And then race number 6 in Sierra is your next ride, up to the rating 65. Geez, that maiden win was incredibly impressive. Was that the feeling you got too?
Yeah, he was super. He gave me a really good feel in his trial, and then he was super down at, I think it was Hara, up in grade, but I don't think that should be too much of a problem. He's got a very sticky gait. Hopefully about 10 inside me scratch, and it'll be all right.
Yeah, that'd help, wouldn't it? What about the heavy conditions? Because this run that we're looking at was on a heavy track, wasn't it? Do you think Sierra can be as effective on top of the ground?
Yeah, I trialled him on the synthetic and he gave me a super feel. So he's got a really good action. So I think he's going to enjoy the good track more than what he did the heavy track.
That's exciting, isn't it, when you see what he was able to do in the maiden. Race number 7, Packing Joy. Love that fresh run. Just made up a stack of ground late, Nabber, and a nice pickup ride for you.
Yep. Ridden him a couple of times before and he's run really well. Super run, fresh up. He's drawn a little bit awkward, so where he gets to in the run, hopefully he doesn't have to get too far back, but he should be really competitive.
And then race number 8 has to be fast as your final ride of the day. Got a nice soft draw in this one. What have you made of those latest 2 outings?
She built to a really good win at Hara, and then just switched the other day. She was a little bit disappointing, maybe just lost a bit of focus. So, and probably looking for more ground, which she gets on Saturday. And she's got the addition of the side winkers. She's a genuine little sweetheart of a horse, so she should be competitive as well.
And Michael, as we wrap up all of your rides there on Saturday, is the one you can single out for punters as your best, or the one you're most looking forward to riding?
Probably looking forward to getting back on in Sierra, but I've got a lot there for Stephen, so just hopefully I get a couple of winners for him. Otherwise he might disown me by the end of the day.
A big day for him will be a big day for you as well, looking at all of those rides. Thanks so much for your time, Michael. Great to catch up with you, and best of luck there on Saturday.
No worries, thanks for having me on.
Well, up next on the form, we get to Robbie Patterson, who, of course, is across the ditch in Australia with some of his star horses. Robbie, great to have you with us on the show this morning. Coventina Bay obviously stepping out very soon. Tell me all about how she's travelled and how the preparation's going.
Yeah, good morning. She's got over here pretty good. Had a bit of a niggly foot first couple of days when I got here, but we've got a ferry in and he's fixed it up. They've settled in great. They're licking the bowl. Their work the last couple of days has been really good. So I'm happy. I've got no illusions. We're going into a tough race, but we're here and we're going to have a go.
Robbie, talk to me about that foot, because I was reading about it online, and is it a bruise or a foot infection that she's just been battling?
Yeah, well, before that last race, we should run second at Te Rapa. She had a pulse all week in her foot, and I kept the pressure off the sole, and it was there, but it wasn't there. And then I put her in the paddock after the race, and a couple of days later, a bit of compaction in the infection blew out her heel, and it's just been niggling her. We put bar shoes on her, and they've still been niggling it. So the farrier come in and actually chopped the end off the shoe, so there's no pressure on that heel where the bruise come out. So it seems to have worked. Touch wood, that it'll get us to the race okay.
Obviously, she knows Sam Collett pretty well, Sam having ridden her here in New Zealand. Has Sam been in to have a sit on her since she's arrived in Australia?
No, Sam's been riding every day. She's busy as. So no, I've got CL Butley here doing the riding. She's doing a great job, and Sam knows her that well. She doesn't need to come out here and ride her.
And what will be the instructions on Saturday? Because I understand there's a little bit of rain around the track. Conditions might be off. Where would you like to see her running?
I would imagine drawn 3 she'll be worse than midfield, and hopefully she's one off. I don't give instructions to good jockeys. Like they know their way around. They've won a lot more races than me on their backs. I just hope she's just a bit worse than midfield and one off and get to the outside.
And then what's the plan from Saturday? Obviously, all being well, if she races up to your expectations, what are the next couple of runs that you've got mapped out?
We've got the Doomben Cup in a fortnight Saturday, and that was probably going to be her last run. But we'll just see if she's racing up to a very good standard and poking her nose in the money. We could look at the QE2 3 weeks later, but that would be her final race. I'd say she'll be retired after that.
And then if we get to your other contender that you've got over there who's racing on Sunday, from what I understand, Nom de Plume, looks like a really nice, promising stayer.
Oh, she's a lovely filly. She's a real staying type. She relaxes beautiful in the running. She's super well. Her gallop yesterday was right up there with her best work, and as you'll see here, this is only 14. I was only giving her a run just to tick her over to get her here, and over 1400 she'd really attacked the line. So 1800, Grylls, he's coming over to ride her. I'm expecting a really bold run.
And then obviously from the run on Sunday, a path towards the Queensland Oaks would be the natural step with her being 3?
Yep, winning on Saturday, we'll go in a super race and attacking the line. We'll go Doomben Roses in 2 weeks. She'll need to get a bit of money to get in the Doomben Roses. And all going well there, if we can get in there and go good, we'll be 2 weeks to the Oaks.
And obviously you said she's well and her work's been up there with some of her best, so she's settled into life across the ditch and she's enjoying the sun on her back, it sounds like.
Oh, yes. No, it's been like 28 degrees the last few days. It's been lovely. And we got them clipped yesterday, which helped because they're starting to get their winter coat, and they're feeling, you get the feathers off and they feel real good. And she's licked the bowl, and she's really, really happy horse.
And a couple of other really nice, promising horses that you were looking at taking across the Tasman was the Fearless One and Secret Amour. I know the Fearless One obviously was a last start winner. Talk me through what the plan is with the Fearless One.
I'm going to talk to the owner today and just see. We're giving him a few days, see how he come through that race the other day. He never really had a race. He just bowled along in front and sprinted away. Very, very promising horse. Beautiful animal to do anything with. We'll just see. I'll talk to the owner today. But there is a flight on the 12th, and then the chairman's at the end of the month, and then 2 weeks into the Brisbane Cup.
And then Secret Amour is another horse who showed a really nice effort to get up and score last weekend. Is there a sort of indication that she could also head across the ditch?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to run her at Rotorua next Saturday in a Group 3 Fillies and Mares 1400, and with a bit of cut in the track, should be a big chance, I imagine. And we're really happy with the win the other day. She was with Tiakau, and they done a fantastic job with her, and I was lucky enough to acquire her to train, she done the job first up, and she's a really nice horse.
Robbie, with all of these horses in Australia and also obviously New Zealand and balancing all of that, who's sort of in charge at home whilst you're away?
I've got a real good team at home. Fountain Peoples of all names. She's my main lady at home, and she's doing a fantastic job. And Phil Drought, he runs the cutter as well. I've got real good staff at home, so I've got no worries. We just check in every day, and it makes life easy when you've got good people behind you. You're only as good as your staff.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Robbie, best of luck there on Saturday and Sunday with those 2 lovely horses that you've got, and hopefully Coventina Bay can keep on adding to that wonderful record she already has.
Thank you very much. We'll be trying for the Kiwis.
is across the ditch at the moment is Shaun Ritchie, but on Saturday he's got runners both in New Zealand and Australia. Shaun, a very warm welcome into the form this morning, and looking forward to a big weekend of runners for you and Colin.
Yeah, good morning, Emily. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a great day here on the Gold Coast. There's some wonderful horse racing, and hopefully we can do a little bit of damage back home as well.
Let's go through your runners, and we'll start on home shores in New Zealand. Enraptured in race number 5 at Te Rapa. Went on debut at Matamata. What has been the progression since that victory?
Yeah, look, we were delighted with that first debut win. It looked to be a fairly strong sort of a race at Matamata. It's not easy winning at Matamata, and she's really trained on well since. We know it's 5 weeks between runs. We were planning to give her a trial, but we decided to take her to Te Rapa for a gallop last Tuesday morning and have a look at the same track. Of course, she'll be racing on this Saturday. So, we're very happy with the condition, and she'll go for a break after this and hopefully develop into a lovely 3-year-old filly in the spring.
Where would you like her ridden in running? What would be sort of the dream scenario from the draw there on Saturday?
Well, we've got a 7-horse field, so we'll leave that primarily up to our jockey, and he managed to get her off the fence and into the race at the right time last time, so hopefully we get a bit more of the same on Saturday.
And then in race number 7 you've got Duneagle. What have you made of the recent runs of this horse?
Disappointing, he's got a very good turn of foot, but I feel he's probably a horse with only a 200 to 300 metre sprint, so we'll probably ride him a little cooler on Saturday and allow him to find his feet and wait for that last little burst. He just struggles a little bit up in the weights, but he's not really an apprentice's horse either, so he's a very difficult horse to place at the moment.
And what about the distance? I know you're back up to the 1400 metres. Is that just the way the program worked out, or was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, a little bit of both. A fast run 1200 metres probably suits him. I think he runs a 1400 out okay, but he probably is a little better suited to 1200 metres. But we're kind of racing the climate as well. He's not really a wet tracker. He needs reasonable footing, and at least we're going to get that on Saturday.
And then also in that race number 7, Queen of Soul is your other horse that you've got in. Decent break. What has she been up to in that time off?
Yeah, she's never been a big, heavy sort of a filly. She's always been a mare could do with a bit more condition. She eats well and does well. She just doesn't carry a lot of weight, and she's got a pretty good record fresh up. She's a horse who comes to hand fairly quickly. So I'm not over worried about the long time between races, but she's obviously lacking recent racing, and she'll no doubt improve with this one. But she's got a good claim. She comes into the race nice from a good draw, and she's an on-pace filly. So she'll be one of those horses I'm sure will be running cheeky fresh.
Yeah, and sounds like she'll suit Te Rapa as well. She seems like quite a progressive type. Is there a program mapped out for her off the back of Saturday?
Yeah, look, we're going to really probably aim for some better stuff in the spring with her, but we'd like to get a couple of runs into her because of, as you mentioned, that long break. We'd like to get 2 or 3 runs in before the wet tracks kick in and just make sure she's coming back to her best.
And then if we move along to race number 8, Fetu is your runner in this one. Another resuming. Most recent trial looked pretty good.
Yeah, look, he really found the line well. His draw is drawn out in the car park there, so we'll have to ride him cold from there. And he's one of those horses, I think, when he gets to 2,000 metres, he's going to be a much better bet.
And then, obviously, he's a little bit of a hard one for punters, isn't he? Because started the career with a hiss and a roar and then has sort of struggled since. Is it just getting up to that distance that's going to be crucial?
Yeah, look, I think that's part of it. He did have a sciatica problem, which we sort of took a while to work out, and we've kind of got on top of those issues now. He's had that long break as well, and we seem to be back into where we want him to be. I was really happy with the way he hit the line in that last trial, but he is a little bit fat in condition, so I'm expecting him to need this, especially giving them a head start.
And then if we get to your charge across the ditch, the reason you're in Australia, obviously looking after the horses. And in the Gold Coast Cup, race number 3 on Saturday, you've got Swords Drawn. Weather conditions, obviously, I'm hearing are going to play a part. I think there's some rain around. Shaun, you'll be better to tell me about that. Does that affect Swords Drawn in any way?
I think it'll help him. He's always been a horse who's been pretty good on slow ground, and he's getting older now, so the joints certainly don't appreciate those hard tracks. His Hawke's Bay Cup win was strong, the 2200, he run it right out, so you'd think the 1.5 mile would suit here. He's not a big horse, so the 58 that he's now been allocated, I guess it comes down to the quality of the race. There's no no real stars for the Carnival in this particular race, which makes it a weaker race. But the 58's a little bit of a worry on a heavy track. No one likes to carry top weight unless they can avoid it on a heavy track, as we all well know. But we've got the gun jockey on, haven't we?
Yes, you most definitely have. What about how he's travelled over? Happy with how he's settled in and doing everything there on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, look, he's flown to Christchurch a couple of times, and he's a bit of a seasoned traveller. He's one of those horses who settles in pretty quickly anywhere. He goes for a good walk around the canal here, and it's lovely here. Who doesn't like a little bit of sun on their back, especially the horses?
Yeah, and in the winter as well, it's always the place to be, isn't it? And just before we let you go, Shaun, you had Badger's Nuts in yesterday. What did you make of that run, and what's the plan from here?
Well, he was disappointing. He over-raced, which he's got to get his manners right. He's a little fractious in the barriers again. I think he's an extremely talented horse, and he's certainly got a good action about him. But we've got some homework to do there with him. We'll certainly stick back to a maiden race and look for something a little bit easier, stick to that grade. But on the whole, we expected a lot better.
And Shaun, finally, just before we let you go, if you had to single one out for punters as your best on Saturday, who would it be?
Oh, look, I quite like Queen of Soul. I think she'll run a cheeky race, but certainly my best winning chance would be the 2-year-old filly, 7-horse field, and she might have that touch of class about her.
Thanks for your time, Shaun. Great to catch up with you, and best of luck on Saturday, both here and, of course, in Australia as well.
Thank you, Emily.